Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever podcast for RGV Canvas Warriors.com. My name is John Cannon. I'm the editor. Sitting alongside me is my senior staff writer, Vinnie Davis. Vinnie, we've been waiting a long time for this, and finally, we made our dream a reality.
It has taken a little time to get this thing off the ground, but I think the fans are really going to enjoy the the medium that we're going to use as far as people getting information off the internet as far as the podcast.
I have to agree. We've kind of butted some heads, and we've had some come to Jesus's ourselves. But you know what? All together, it's finally here, man. And couldn't ask for a better person to be sitting across from me than you. I guess let's jump right into this, Vinny. Obviously, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the podcast and what it's going to entail. Now, this was kind of your brainchild, so with you being my right-hand man, even though you're sitting on my left, I'm going to kind of turn this over to you and explain to the fans exactly what this podcast is going to entail. What are some things that we're going to be talking about, and also what's the main aspect for this?
Well, the podcast gives people who like that avenue, that the way of accessing information off the internet in a podcast or a radio show form. This is going to give people another opportunity or another avenue to get more information. And when we write the articles on the website, sometimes we leave stuff out because the article is just going to be way too long. This will give you the opportunity, or this will give us the opportunity to give the viewer or the reader or the fans out there like the backstory or updated information or just another way of accessing boxing and MMA information here in the Valley.
Yeah, that's true. Also, another thing, we like I said, we've been brainstorming this for a long time. Another thing we're going to do is, obviously, like this week, we've got some fights coming up. We've got some other fights down the road. Kind of like you said, when we're writing our stories, we pretty much do the meat and potatoes. But we don't really have all of the other accessories that are around it. That's where we can kind of use this podcast, talk a little bit about what we've said with the fighters, maybe some things that are a little bit unique about them, something unique coming into the fight. I've got an example I'm going to be bringing up today on a story that I actually worked on with Andrew Garza. You'll find it surprising as well as I think the fans will. Also for the fact that we always have breaking news that happens, Vinny. And a lot of the times it takes us a little while to get a hold of the fighters, to talk to them and get their story. So I was thinking about, we're going to do something called Quick Hits, where we do kind of like they do on the Fox NFL Sunday, where so-and-so was in, he's doing this, so-and-so was out. We'll kind of do the same thing. Like, hey, we've got this fighter, just got word he's going to be fighting, or else his fight was canceled, but it's going to be rescheduled for another day. So things like that also are going to be perfect and really going to help with this podcast, where the fans will at least kind of get a little taste of what we say on the website, but like you said, in a more diverse way.
And another thing we really want to do with this podcast too is bring on guests from time to time or a weekly basis. And there's nothing like really hearing it from them or their stories or their experience. And I think the fans are really going to enjoy listening to some of the fighters and some of the trainers here that are in the Valley.
Oh yeah, I agree. I know that I talked to a couple guys about it today. In fact, we would like to welcome a new rider, Jaime Hernandez, is going to be joining the team. I met with him today. Real excited about him coming on board. But just the fighters that I've talked to and the trainers, and even some of the promoters, managers, pretty much anybody that's involved within the sport of boxing, MMA, has says, man, this is really big for the Valley. Obviously, I don't know if you know this, Vinny, but we team up with Fight Saga, who does the Pugilist Corner, which is our very own trainer with our website, James Gogi, does, he's kind of like their color. He breaks down the fights. He does things like that for the Pugilist Corner along with Ronnie Shields. But we're basically bringing that now to a Valley level. And our whole concept, obviously, you know what it is. When you and I sat down, we first talked about it. Our whole concept is to get these guys the recognition and the exposure they deserve. I mean, you're an amateur boxer yourself, so you know how it is. Just alone stepping in that boxing ring, you're taking your life in your own hands. So the fact that these guys are trying to make names for themselves, trying to get to the level that like Omar Figueroa's got, or even Goyito Perez right now, these guys are doing the same thing, but we're just trying to help in a way where we can say, hey guys, look, you have a news source here that's going to help you and get your name out there and give you kind of the respect that you deserve, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I know from what I hear from the fans, they love reading the stories, they love reading the articles, and I think this is just going to add to it. And I've talked to a lot of the fighters, and they thought that this was a great idea as the podcast.
Now, something you and I have talked about as well, along with the podcast, there's also changes coming with the website. As you and I know, we're always researching. We do so much research that we should be historians, you know what I mean? But I sat with Chris, and Chris obviously is our webmaster, and we look at the website and we look at different things we want to change up. So we're doing a whole redesign for our 1 year anniversary, I guess you can say. There's already been changes on the homepage, as you've seen. We've pretty much thrown some more stories on there with pictures where the fans can kind of see it. Instead of just looking at the bullet points, you actually have a picture with about a paragraph, and you click to read the rest of it. And then we have the main story along with sliders with about 3 or 4 stories that slide across the screen. So that's kind of exciting too. You know, obviously we're always updating, making changes, doing different things to show our fans that, hey, you know what? We're not satisfied with what we have. We're always looking to upgrade.
Yeah, I like the new look. I saw the front page of the website, and I just thought it was new and different, and I thought it looked pretty classy.
Yeah, it is. Kind of like, what's the guy from Anchorman? You say classy now, San Diego. You know, we're trying to stay classy Valley style, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, Vinny, let's jump right on into this. You know, Fighter of the Month. We started this up about, back in maybe March of this past year, and it's gotten a lot of feedback. You know, people seem really excited about it. We had 1 month, in fact, where the votes went through the roof. I think there was over 200 and something votes, wasn't there, for a couple of our local guys. So obviously that's an exciting thing, and we'll kind of give the concept to the fans, let them know what is it that we look for when we choose a Fighter of the Month. Because I know that I've had some people come and tell me, well, why do you choose this guy? Why do you choose this guy? Why is it this person and not this person? So kind of explain to the fans what our concept and what is it that we look at to decide the Fighter of the Month.
Okay, so what we do is we go back through the month and we take a look at all the guys that have fought. And so if we have 3 boxers and 1 MMA, and if they were victorious in their fight, they will be nominated for Fighter of the Month. So that's sometimes people have said, well, why don't you split it up to MMA Fighter of the Month and Boxing Fighter of the Month? Well, there might be 3 boxers and there might be just 1 MMA fighter. So we include them all in, and we put it on the website, and we let the fans and the readers of the website choose. And I really thought this month that Ricky Palacios was going to run away with it, and our Fighter of the Month this month is Luis Arazua.
Just a little information on Luis Arazua. I remember when Luis first got started, it was funny. We had an event at Joe Brand, and it was one of Cavazos' boxing shows. And Luis showed up, and his dad was there. In fact, his dad was training Eric Molina at the time. And Luis came up, and his dad said, hey, you know, this young man has got some special talent. And, you know, it's funny, and not to say this in a bad, but, you know, you always hear someone say, oh, my son's going to be the next big thing, or my son's going to be, you know, the next Omar Figueroa, or the next Manny Pacquiao, or the next Oscar De La Hoya. And, again, that's what we want to hear. But sometimes, you know, it gets a little over-exaggerated, I guess you can say. But I'm going to tell you something. If I could go back in time and sit there and remember what he said to now, which I'm reminiscing right now, the kid has really done well. The kid got signed with Top Rank, fought for Top Rank for a while. I think he had a 3-fight deal or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look back. But just the fact that Top Rank signed him, he fought with Top Rank. I'm not really sure what happened, if they gave him his release or if he's taken a step back. It's still kind of in the clouds, basically, you know, with what's going on there. But hey, the fact that the guy had an opportunity like that says a lot. And he went up and got a big win. And he's a young prospect. And obviously you look at Omar and what he's done. Omar kind of started out in the same boat, but it took Omar so many fights until he finally got a chance just to get into Golden Boy. This guy was signed with Top Rank, I think, in his 4th fight, if I'm not mistaken.
And his last fight in November, he was fighting Gilbert Cancino in Robstown, Texas. And they ended up stopping the match in the first round in the first 45 seconds. And he knocked him down with a left hook and then knocked him down with a straight right soon after that. And won very convincingly. The corner man for Gilbert Cancino came in waving a towel, and the referee was giving him the eight count and was stopping the match as he turned around and saw the trainer waving the towel. So he won convincingly, and he had a great showing. And you know, he's fought a few times this past year, and I think we're going to see some really good things from Luis.
And what is he? Luis is 5-0 right now, if I'm not mistaken, and he's got what, about 2 or 3 knockouts, doesn't he?
He's 5-0, and he has 2 knockouts. He has 1 draw.
Again, another prospect. You know, and you and I also talked about that. You know, we have our top echelon of fighters here in the Valley. We always cover, which is Omar Figueroa, which is Frank Trevino in MMA. You know, we also have Tigre. We've got Eric Molina, Robert Garcia James, Goyito Perez, Danny Salinas. But we always talk about we're looking for the new crop that's coming in.
And I think there is. I think there's a new crop of guys coming in both sports, boxing and MMA.
You're exactly right. You look at Kilo Amador. You know, I know you really wanted to see this fight when he was going to fight Oshanique Foster. Now, let me get it right. Is it Oshanique or Oshik? I know that you know, one time you had called him a certain name, but then he said it was another name. Kind of clear that up a little bit. I kind of got a kick out of that.
Well, everybody, his nickname is Oshanique, and his real name is Oshaki.
Oshaki, okay.
So,
but he goes by Oshanique.
He goes by Oshanique, but as far as the papers and the he likes to be recognized as Oshaki.
Well, you know, we've had our soiree of nicknames, you know, kind of like Ote, and I'm sure if anyone in the boxing world will remember Deshaun Williams, when he fought Juan Reyna, he had that big hair like buckwheat, and Vinny and I kind of came up with a joke and called him Ote. I know it's kind of mean, but hey, he's not from the Valley, so we can get away with that. But, you know, Vinny and I even play jokes about it in the morning sometimes where, hey, Vinny, this is your assignments, blah, 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 and he'll send me a text message back, Ote. And it just goes to show you how much fun we have with this. But you're right, Vinny, the new crop. You look at Kilo Amador, you look at Randy Fuentes. I mean, a kid that came from MMA, who was fighting mixed martial arts, made the transition to boxing, and then goes his first fight on ESPN and is victorious. You know, so again, you know, you look at him, you look at Fabian Reyes, another guy that's really come through. In MMA, you know, we've got Joe Rod, we've got Mike Mendes. I know you really were high on that guy. In fact, the Joe Rod Mike Mendes fight, unbelievable. I mean, nobody really saw that one coming. So I love to see this new crop come out, and for us to be able to sit here and follow these guys' careers, man, it makes our job worthwhile.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, Team Embo out in Rio Grande City has got a crop of guys coming out.
Yes. You know, we've also got that kid Ricky Palacios. You know, we talked about him a little bit in nominated for Fighter of the Month, just to let you know a little bit about that guy. That guy held, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 amateur belts, you know, with Texas Rage in the Cage. He was a very tough amateur fighter. And he just fought in an MMA fight, and then on December 21st, he's making his professional boxing debut. So, you know, you look at him too, and also even Leroy Martinez. Leroy Martinez, you know, who trains with Nestor Ozuna, you know, a very good friend of mine. He went up to San Antonio, lost the fight. From what I understand, even Mike Tinajero, who also is training with him too. I believe Mike's his MMA coach, and I think Nestor helps him with boxing. Mike told me, and in fact, on one of the websites that I read, they were going to put that down as one of the fights of the year. I mean, they said that was a great fight between those two guys.
It was a good fight, and what was really what happened at that fight that a lot of people might know. We did write about it in the article. A fight broke out in the crowd, and they delayed the fight for 15 minutes in the first round. So, you know, Leroy told me himself that he was very thirsty. His legs were, you know, just getting cold, and he just thought that for that to happen was really broke the rhythm of the fight. So,
true. Talking about MMA, let's talk about, we got a show coming up this week. STFC, man, you know, those guys, shoot, I think this is what, their 4th show of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, they've got a real good card coming out. Let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, let's kind of start with a story you worked on. Two firsts that are coming to STFC. Talk about that and let the fans know a little bit about what's going on there.
Okay, first we have Javier Rendon and Vernon Lewis. They're heavyweights. Javier is weighing in at 265 pounds.
Beefy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of girth in that ring or in that cage Friday night. And Raul Ramos told me that this is the first time that they've had a fighter over 205 pounds. So these are big boys. Knockouts usually come with big guys like this, and they both have a strong background in the ground game. So Vernon is from Waco. His record is 0-2. He comes from a jiu-jitsu based camp, and Javier Rendon wrestled in high school and in college, and that's exactly how he got involved in MMA, because while he was in Iowa, a mixed martial arts gym asked him to come over and help the team members over there at that gym with takedown moves and wrestling moves, and I guess you could say he got bit by the bug, because now he's making his pro debut here in McAllen this Friday night.
And I understand that's the first time STFC has ever had a heavyweight match. Is that correct?
Over 205 pounds.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And he's training with, is it Frank Trevino that's training him?
Yeah, Frank Trevino is his Muay Thai trainer.
Okay. And obviously everyone knows Frank Trevino, undefeated, 9-0, was a middleweight, defeated Corey Bellino in knockout fashion, and was the STFC middleweight champion. He actually relinquished his belt that night because the guy's looking to go down in weight again. Now, there's another first. Talk about that one a little bit.
Well, we have Clemente Manguito. He's the first Filipino fighter to fight with STFC, and he actually might be one of the oldest as well. He's 38 years old, and he's going up against Oscar Ortiz, who is from Team Embo in Rio Grande City, and this is Clemente's pro debut, and this is Oscar's second fight, and Oscar lost his first fight when he was submitted by Leroy Martinez at Bike Fest.
Okay.
So Oscar is looking for his first win, and of course Clemente is looking for his first win as a professional.
Nice.
And
Trains with good old Mr. B, doesn't he?
and he trains with Mr. B. And the thing about Clemente is, while he was in the Philippines, he was an amateur kickboxer and has a undefeated record at 13-0.
Wow, that's impressive.
And
for MMA, that's impressive. Anytime you have over 10 amateur fights, you're something, man. So, and to be 13-0 and be undefeated, that says a lot for this young man. Again, another crop of talent coming through, man. That has graced us in the Rio Grande Valley. Now, I want to switch gears and talk about the story I did today. And man, you want to talk about a really, really good story. Andrew Garza, he's coming in at 3-3. He's had a rough go at it for his last 3 fights. He fought Frank Trevino, obviously, and that was just a bitter war. He got pretty banged up in that fight against Frank, but went 3 rounds with him, and Frank's an absolute machine. So, and then after that, he fought Roger Narvaez, in which, if I'm not mistaken, it was a TKO. I think the referee stopped the fight. And then he fought in Dallas back in July or June, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I should remember from doing it today. And it went to the decision. It went to a decision. He lost by decision. But he's looking to get back on track. He's fighting Josh Trevino, another Trevino. We kind of joked about that today, and he says, well, hopefully the outcome will be a little different with this Trevino. But the funny thing about it, Andrew and Josh are very good friends, actually. They used to train together. They know each other real well. Andrew's got nothing but respect for this guy, spoke very highly of him, and he says, John, we're just going out there, and we're going out to put on a good fight for the fans, put on a good show. No trash talking here, none of that stuff. We just want to go out and, hey, obviously, Josh looking for his second win, and Andrew's looking to end his 3 fight losing streak. So both of them want to end 2012 with a bang. But here's the neat thing about it. Andrew Garza had told me he's making no money in this fight, Vinny. Not one penny. Reason being, he's going to donate all of his purse to the Wounded Warrior Project, which is exactly what he told me to say. It's wounded service men and women is who he's donating the money to. So that's unbelievable, man. I mean, that just goes to show the character of this young man, and I think that's great. You don't see that every day, somebody doing something like that, and especially his entire purse.
Wow, that is awesome.
And then, good old main event, man. We got Carlos Diego and George Cortez. I'm excited about this one. I've seen Carlos Diego a couple times. The guy is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu submission specialist, man. I mean, he's something else. I saw him when he fought in Corpus 2 times, and the guy's fought in jiu-jitsu tournaments all over the state, very successful. And shoot, man, a lot of people are talking very highly of Carlos Diego.
Yeah, well, his last 3 fights were ended by submission, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I got to see him on a pay-per-view a couple months ago, and he was an absolute animal. I mean, he comes in with Christian music, and then they lock that cage, and the guy just goes on his opponent like an animal. And if this match goes to the ground, I see this thing going 2 ways. If Carlos Diego takes this match to the ground, I really see a submission. If he stands up and fights with George, I do see Carlos having a little bit of trouble. George is a strong guy. He's a stand-up fighter. I think he could knock you out if he hits you good.
He proved that against Frank Trevino. You know, when he fought Frank, we were surprised. We thought that Frank would destroy George. But I tell you what, George caught him with some shots that night. You know, and Raul kind of told me the same thing you said. If this fight stands up, George has a very, very strong power game. All it takes is one punch, which obviously we've seen this. You know, working on our end of the year awards, you know, we're coming up with our knockout of the year and all these things. So, you know, we're looking for that one punch. So anything can happen, but in my opinion, I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it on the head. If it goes to the ground, advantage Carlos Diego. If it's stand up, I got to give advantage George Cortez.
Right. I wouldn't want to go toe to toe with George Cortez. Like I said, he's a strong guy. I think if he catches you just right, I think he can hurt you. And I think that's one thing that Carlos is really going to have to look out for. And I think he is going to do everything he can to get it to the ground.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and run through the rest of the undercard? Obviously, we want to give these guys some love. So, what other fights are out there? You have pretty much the fight card of 4 Friday nights. So, inform the fans of who's going to be fighting, who we haven't touched on just yet.
Well, this is the fight card that I got.
But run through the whole thing. Why
okay,
not?
I got a few days ago from Raul. So if it's changed since then. These are the fights. We've got the main event is Carlos Diego versus George Cortez. It's a 3-round, 5-minute rounds, and Andrew Garza against Josh Trevino. We have Javier Rendon and Vernon Lewis in the heavyweight match. We have Clemente Menguito and Oscar Ortiz. We have Miguel Cobos versus Andrew De Leon, and both these guys are undefeated, 1-0. And we saw Miguel Cobos at STFC Rampage 21, and he put on a heck of a performance.
Oh, yeah.
He's an exciting fighter, and he trains with Nestor as well.
Yes.
So that's going to be a really good match. Mark Beltran is going up against Fabian Saldivar, and Joshua Sharpless is going up against Carlos Martinez.
So we got a total of 7 fights on the night.
7 fights.
Good card, man. I mean, you look at it, STFC, they always take pride in putting together so many good cards. And the one thing about it is if they say they're going to have 7 fights, they're going to have 7 fights. Now, again, sometimes fights fall through last minute, but, you know, they've done a good job of pretty much putting the fights together. And if one drops out, they always usually have a backup plan and try to get somebody in. Great way to end the year, MMA-wise, you know, and tickets are $25 on sale right now. Tomorrow, we want to invite the public out to the weigh-in. It's going to be at 2 o'clock at STC. And then fight night, of course, Friday night. I believe doors open at 7 I think the first fight's at 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken.
And if you've missed any of the stories on our website, you'll want to go back, and we have the story on the heavyweights, we have the story on Clemente, we have the story on Andrew Garza, and by the time this podcast hits, we'll also have a Q&A on the main event.
Yes, I'm actually doing that tomorrow. I'm doing a Q&A on Carlos Diego and George Cortez. All right, Vinny, we're about done. One thing I want to do before we end is what we call quick hits. That's how we're going to kind of end our show. A couple things real quick. La Amenaza, Robert Garcia, I know a lot of people were expecting him to fight this past Saturday. Fight has been canceled. The show was canceled completely. Been rescheduled for January 4th. He will be in the main event of a ESPN fight in Miami, Florida. Got word from Felix Piedra today. Felix may be on the co-main event of that same card. Just waiting on contract to be signed, so kind of exciting there. Hector Garza, if I'm not mistaken, he will be fighting on the way it looks on the Border Wars card. Of course, he got hurt prior to his fight in Port Aransas, but looks like he's going to be okay and has an opportunity of possibly fighting on Border Wars. And then Kilo Amador as well. Kilo Amador has got a fight coming up. Looks like he's going to be fighting on Border Wars as well. We'll give that information as we find it. As you know, as we always say, you can read more in depth about all of these on RGVCanvasWarriors.com. And last but not least, DJ Fuentes. I talked to him. He's making his comeback in 2013. So that should be exciting. Vinny, my friend, the wait is over. We finally got the first one in the books, man. It was fun. I had a good time. Folks, just to let you know, we're going to be doing this every week. You can pretty much find it on YouTube, on iTunes, as well as on the website. Chris is actually going to build a module where you can click on it. It'll take you directly to the podcast to listen to them. This is our first one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, please email us. Email Vinny, email myself. You can go to the website, go into the staff page. You'll find our email addresses there. Hit us up on Facebook, RGVCanvasWarriors.com. Make sure to like us. And also follow our Twitter page, which I got to confess, I got to kind of keep up with our Twitter page a little bit, but I'm going to get there. Slowly but surely, it's all part of the rephasing, the re-upping that we're doing for the website. So, Vinny, it's all I got. You got anything else?
I don't have anything else. It just, if you have any ideas or suggestions or things you want to hear or people you want to listen to on the podcast, be sure and email and let us know what you think, and we'll try to deliver. And stay tuned, because we're planning to bring guests on throughout the next upcoming weeks, and I think we're going to have some great stories and information to share with you throughout the upcoming months.
One more thing to close. If anyone's interested, we are looking for sponsors for the show. If anyone's interested in sponsoring, they can contact myself or contact Vinny. Obviously, it takes some cost to cover this show, but we feel we got a great product. We feel that, already with the website alone, it's proved itself. The podcast is going to take us to the next level. But we'd always like to bring some sponsors on and help them, let them become a part of our family, as we like to say. So if anyone's interested in sponsoring, again, contact myself, contact Vinny. You can contact us on our staff page or go to our Facebook pages, either one. So that's it. That's a wrap. For Vinny Davis, this is John Cannon. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you again.